Race drivers, it's Enzo on a windy coastal part of England, and this is where I pretty much come back very often to decompress from a race weekend, which is a good idea as a coach, as a driver, to take it all in, to think about the messages that you got from the race weekend, the strengths, the weaknesses of yourself, what you learned, what you can apply next time. And I think you just need to get away from it, and this helps me do just that. And on this occasion, we've just got back from Qatar, where I was with Oliver Bearman in the F2, and he had a fantastic weekend. You know what? It's a bit windy. Let's get back into the car. Let's just do an in-car video like we often do. Okay, back in the car now, in the safe and warm, and going to the coast in December in England. It might look nice. It's all sunny and beautiful. However, it's windy and cold as hell. And so I'm back in the car now talking to you about the one, I won't say lesson, but the reminder from the race weekend that I took that I know will be valuable to you, and it will serve you if you keep on reminding yourself about this. And it is to focus on the performance way more than the result. And the reason this weekend reminded me of that was because we went to Qatar, as you know, in F2, and Ollie hasn't been in the F2 car for months. It was Monza because he missed Baku because he was racing in the Haas car. So fair enough, he's not match fit in that car. So that's one reason we're thinking, right, we've got to design this race weekend in a way to get him up to speed. Also, he's going to a track he's never been to before. So when you're going there and some of your competitors have been testing F1 there 2 weeks before, and they've done 2 days pounding the track, you're like, okay, right, they're going to be ahead of us to start with initially. So let's just learn. Our teammate had been there with Mercedes. So let's just learn from him on the first run, extract all we can, find out the 1 or 2 areas or 3 on the track where we can make a leap forward to catch him up, kind of thing, where he's showing us the way. And we'll take it from there and get ready for qualifying. However, in free practice, we only get one in F2, one free practice. Immediately, he was there, he was within shooting distance. He knew exactly what to do when it comes to qualifying, which is pretty damn amazing. That performance of a driver going to a track he doesn't know, when there's a few drivers there that have done some testing before, yet you're at the front. This is something I want you to have as a goal. And it really, I said this is to focus on the performance more than the result. It was because we focused on purely the performance that the result was good. And this was just the first reminder of the race weekend. I want you to go to your next race weekend and your next test completely focused on the driving, completely focused on the preparation before you go. So you've got all the knowledge, you know exactly what to do, because we said to Ollie, this isn't normal that straight away you're fast. But he said, yeah, but I don't need to learn the circuit. I've done it in the sim, and I just drive what I know. And it's to understand that most drivers can't do that. Yes, they can do it on the sim. They can be fast on the sim, but then you put them in the real world and they're way off. Really common, probably myself would be the same. So it is a skill. But I tell you what, I want you to approach your race weekends and your tests in exactly the same way, is to front load all the preparation. So when you get there, even if you haven't been there, you feel like you know that circuit inside out. And, Ayrton Senna, if you watch the new Netflix show on him, the series, there was something in there where Senna learned the track just as he was talking, just by talking to the team boss. And they were walking around the track, and these friends and the team managers said, how is he fast so quick? Why is he on the pace straight away? He doesn't know this track. And the friend of Ayrton said he was learning it while he was talking to you, while he was negotiating, whilst he was haggling a deal with you, he was looking at the track. And I know that's Hollywood, but that's really what Senna was like as well. Learning a track fast is really important. And how do you do that? A number of ways. First, the prep has to be very detailed. Then when you get there, you obviously walk the track, you get to learn it, and you kind of visualize what it would be like in your car to drive that certain corner, so you're mentally processing it straight away. And then you visualize it as well before you get into the car. It's amazing how you shortcut and you knock laps off the learning process. Because I remember when we didn't have simulators and all this stuff, you didn't know the track that well. You were told about what the track's like before you went there back in the day. There was barely any onboard footage or anything. It took forever. You know, 45 minutes you were going around and still like, oh, is this, oh no, this is not a right-hander, it's a left-hander. And that's what I was like. So I wasn't the best at it, but I got better and learned on the sim of how to learn a track really quick. But these guys and gals now are really quick at learning tracks. So that's number one, is get really good at learning circuits. See what you can do to prep and to get it into your head before you've driven. So when you're out there, you're pretty much on it straight away. That's the goal. Also, you need driving skill to be able to do that, and car control, because you're going to go into the corners a bit incorrect because you thought it was maybe quicker at a certain corner on the entry, and oh, it's not, so you have to adjust. So a bit of car confidence as well. But if you emphasize this area and make it a must to improve next year or over the winter, it's amazing how you come up with your own ways of getting up to speed quickly. But I would say prioritize it. So I'd say there's two reminders. The first one is getting up to speed, and the second one is performance over result. And that's when we go into the actual race weekend itself. When we get to qualifying and the races with Ollie, he drove better or as good as he's ever done before. You know, the car was dialed in, he was dialed in, he was ready to compete, and he was up the front. Something happened on the second set of tyres in quali, which I won't tell you about, but something happened which made him qualify P10 instead of in the top 4. So fair enough. But that again is what I'm talking about here, is his performance was absolutely bang on. However, the result, P10 in qualifying, doesn't look like it. It's like, well, it was okay. It's, you know, it's mid-pack. But actually his performance was unbelievable. But circumstances turn it into a turn 10. Sorry, P10. And loads of drivers obviously have the same problem. You obviously often you don't get the result that you deserve. But that shouldn't matter. I want you to solely focus on, if you're P1 or you're P20, how was my performance? What can I take from it? What was good and what do I need to improve? And you stay there for the whole race weekend. So in essence, when I think about that race weekend that just happened, we come away with a sprint race win. And then I think we're P13 in the main race because the safety car came out when we were on hard tyres. So everyone else pretty much got a free pit stop. We didn't. So we had to take the pit stop under green and lost 30 seconds. But he was up for, like, I'll tell you what, it was a top 4 easily because his pace was so good. So the potential was a top 4 from P10. He would have just driven up, I promise you. Anyway, if we were to look at the result and say, oh, you got a win on Saturday, but P13, you can feel a bit deflated. But we were excited. Me and the manager were like, you know what? And his dad and Jamie, who's with us, we're like, that was a performance. This kid drove his heart out. He drove well. He hardly made an error. You know, slight errors, but everyone does have a race weekend in an F2 car. It's difficult. But it was an awesome performance. And okay, we come away with P13, but we're not focusing on that. Look deeper than the result and look at the actual performance of how you were. Did you execute? Did you do what you could within your control? And did you maximize that? If you did, perfect. I don't care where you finished on track. As long as you keep doing that, you build, learn, improve the car for next time, I promise that you will get the most out of yourself. It's easy for you to come away with a double figure position and be depressed and be sad about it. But if you know that you drove your heart out and there's not much more you could have done, then I want you to be as ecstatic as you would if you won. And if you keep on that, and you know, this is why I say ecstatic, but that's getting emotional. This is why I say focus on the process, focus on the performance. And that's where your emotions should be, happy or sad. Results wise, I don't really want you to pay too much attention to them. It's like, it's just feedback. You know, if it's 2/10 off, where am I 2/10 off? Great. I know what to work on. But you keep most of your focus on you. And I tell you what, if you do that, you handle pressure better because you're not thinking, oh, I'm P1, I've got to hold on to P1, or I'm P20, I don't feel good about this, I'm going to start to get angry in the car. These things, you don't need that. That's baggage, that's ballast. What you need is to be focused solely on you. How did you do that? Because that's the real truth. What barometers? How can I measure how I performed? and focus all your attention on that. And if you do, you'll improve much faster. Your emotions will be more stable. You won't be your mood won't be determined by what's on the result sheet, because you'll look deeper and you'll be working on the craft, and that's where it is. And again, you'll be focusing on the things that you're in control of, which is all you can focus on. All the rest of it can do one. So that was my takeaway, or takeaways, from the race weekend at Qatar. And I'm sure we're going to have more takeaways from Abu Dhabi. That's just, we're going to in 2 days. I think I'm taking off in 2 days. Yeah. And I might do the similar sort of video to finish the season off. By the way, I think the next episode might be the last one of the season. I'll see how I feel, see what I'm doing the week after, but it might be. I might want to do a live show, by the way, just answering questions and things before we finish. So I'll let you know. Tune in next Monday. Speak to you next time.